We all feel the same way. We just want to feel safe, and we don't want it in our backyard.
Right now on IUSTV News, speaking out, neighbors making their voices heard to county commissioners. Find out what is drawing pushback from the community.
Plus, if you take the Beeline Trail south of downtown, heads up, what's the reason for a new closure? And the detour you'll need to know about.
And all eyes are once again on the Gulf of Mexico. We have the latest on Hurricane Milton ahead of a potential landfall later this week. County commissioners are looking at a property on Vernal Pike to build the new Monroe County Jail. Neighbors made it clear they don't want it there. Thanks for joining us. I'm Jaymi Curtis.
And I'm Charlie Herman. You're watching IUSTV News. Commissioners heard the message at a public meeting Sunday.
And after, it seems like the proposal doesn't have a good chance. Our Ashton Hackman was at that meeting and heard from a woman who is working to keep the new jail away. Ashton?
Yeah, one of the most desired locations near this area is near Woodyard Road and Vernal Pike, but a neighbor in the area tells me she is going to fight to prevent that new jail from going in her backyard.
This 53-acre plot could be the site of the new Monroe County Jail.
This will literally be in my backyard.
But neighbors who live nearby say they're concerned.
And the safety of my family. And you're literally talking about putting a driveway in my yard.
One of those neighbors,
Your name, your address.
says she's leading the charge against the proposal.
Why would I want this neighborhood to change its legacy when so many people love it?
County commissioners heard from dozens of people at a public meeting Sunday, all who said they don't want the jail to come to their neighborhood.
Well, nobody would say, hey, build a jail in my backyard. Nobody would say that, but it has to go somewhere. Right now it is in a lot of people's backyards and nobody really talks about it.
Right now, county commissioners are looking at two possible sites for the new jail. The Vernal Pike property and another off State Road 46. While the Vernal Pike site is an option, commissioners appear to prefer the North Park property instead.
There are no issues with topography. There are no slopes, and it is by far, as our person who does this work said, the best property for building on this site.
But as the county moves closer to a decision, Commissioner President Julie Thomas said community input is important.
I know there are more residents close by to this site than there are the North Park site, actually living right on the doorstep of where we would be building. And I kind of knew that going in, and that always bothered me a lot. But really, we wanted them to know where we were in the process. If folks sat here today and said, we want this, I would be thinking about it differently too. But we need to hear that from people.
Now, county commissioners say they are planning to have a meeting with county council as well as other county leaders and the sheriff to make a decision on this property. That meeting is set for October 22nd. In Monroe County, Ashton Hackman, IUSTV News.
Ashton, thank you. We've been covering the progress of the Monroe County Jail project. You can find all past stories on iustv.com/jail.
A section of the Beeline Trail on the south end of town will be closed for several weeks. This is near the Kroger at Seminary Park. Crews working on the Hopewell neighborhood will be doing trail resurfacing. While that happens, trail users are asked to use Morton Street between 1st and 2nd Streets. The city says the detour is expected to last several weeks. The Florida Gulf Coast is once again bracing for a major hurricane, set to make landfall later this week. Forecasters predict Milton will make landfall near Tampa.
In just 1 hour, Milton increased 25 miles per hour, making it a Category 5 storm.
More intensification is possible as the storm heads to land through the warm waters of the Gulf. And now, more than 15 million people are under flood watches, and millions are evacuating. Amy Kiley reports.
I have the State Emergency Response Team preparing for the largest evacuation that we have seen, most likely since 2017 Hurricane Irma.
Floridians are bracing for the second major hurricane in less than 2 weeks. Forecasters predict Milton will make landfall Wednesday and then plow across most of the state. Officials are issuing both mandatory and voluntary evacuation orders for at-risk areas.
I urge Floridians to finalize your storm preparations now, enact your plan. I highly encourage you to evacuate.
The National Hurricane Center warns flooding could threaten millions of residents. Some are preparing with sandbags.
We got kind of damaged, Hurricane Ian, so just make sure that we get a little bit more precautious, making sure all the sandbags are at our doorstep garage.
I think we're just going to put sandbags in our back porch. We're going to get like groceries later and stuff in case it's really bad.
Milton's timing could be dangerous. In some areas, the ground is already saturated from Hurricane Helene, and cleanup from that storm continues.
One of the things that we did was make sure that all disaster debris management sites that were impacted by Hurricane Helene, that they remain open 24/7 for drop-off.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
All right, let's get a check of this weather in our area, as we are coming off an absolutely beautiful weekend.
Yes, Kyla, it was nothing but sunshine and comfortable too.
Yes, we are finally getting into those cool, comfortable, and sunny degrees that came with the fall season. We had a rough start. We're going to get into the drought easing up in a very dry week. Looking at the 24-hour temp change, you can see we're dropping not by much, but with the highest being at -6 degrees, -6 degrees, -5 degrees in areas as Columbus and Franklin. Bloomington with -5 degrees as well. Onto the drought monitor, as you can see in these yellow areas where there's abnormally dry areas in Springfield, Bloomington, and Indianapolis. But as you go further east, looking at Columbus and Charleston, you really get into those extreme droughts and exceptional droughts in the areas where you see this red and dark red areas. But that's for now, but I have more for you when I get back.
Thank you. The Monroe Capital Improvement Board is sharing new renderings of the Convention Center expansion project. The new design makes changes to the room and creates a bigger lobby area. The $52 million project would bring an additional 60,000 square feet. The current site is to the east of the current Convention Center between College Avenue and Walnut Street. The Capital Improvement Board meets again Wednesday. The county hopes to break ground in the spring.
This is your last week to get a free flu shot on campus ahead of the upcoming flu season. You can grab the shot at the Student Health Center tomorrow and Wednesday. The flu shots are free and available for enrolled students, faculty, and staff for IU. These shots are by appointment only and must be scheduled online.
The U.S. Supreme Court was back in session today to hear a new round of oral arguments. Justices agreed to make decisions on 40 appeals so far in the term that will run through next summer. The agenda includes cases on guns, pornography, and transgender medical care. It comes as the justices brace for a slew of last-minute election flights and a new presidential administration that could drag the courts deeper into politics.
Today marks 1 year since the Hamas attack on Israel that killed over 1,000 people and led to the kidnapping of 250 others. Families of Israeli hostages sounded a 2-minute siren outside Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's home, the families urging him to bring back the hostages. Many relatives of the missing people spoke about their grief and the trauma from this day, as they still fight for the return of their relatives.
Look, I think everyone has a right to say what they want. Support the people of Israel, support the people of Palestine. I think supporting terrorist organizations like Hamas and Hezbollah is destructive.
The conflict in the region continues as Israel carries out airstrikes in Lebanon.
Well, we are just 28 days away from Election Day, and early voting in the Hoosier State starts tomorrow.
That means you only have hours left to register to vote in Indiana. Monroe County residents can register to vote either in person, online through the voter portal, or by mail. Mail-in forms will be sent to the voter registration office by October 7th.
You can also register in person there or at the BMV. The deadline is midnight.
Former President Donald Trump held a rally over the weekend at the site of the first assassination attempt against him. In Butler, Trump welcomed thousands of supporters. Trump's running mate, J.D. Vance, and Tesla and SpaceX CEO Elon Musk made an appearance. During the speech, Trump said Democrats were working to censor him and voiced his frustrations with states that don't require voter ID, claiming the election will be stolen.
This is a takeover of the country. You're not allowed to ask for an ID. If you do, it's a criminal count. Other Democrat states are following. This is only so they can cheat. There's only one thing that you do this for, so that you can cheat on elections.
Trump held another rally the night after in Wisconsin.
Former President Barack Obama is hitting the campaign trail. Obama is set to start a 27-day sprint for Vice President Kamala Harris. He will stop in several swing states, including Pennsylvania. Obama's first event is scheduled for Thursday in Pittsburgh. Harris' advisor says the team is hoping Obama's star power can help energize complacent Democrats. The IUSTV is your home for the 2024 election. We will have you covered on all the latest headlines up to and on Election Day. You can find more on IUSTV.com. Then, on election night, you can catch us live on YouTube and Facebook starting at 7 p.m. Eastern. Tense moments on a Las Vegas runway.
Still ahead, investigators believe the cause of a Frontier airline to catch fire during landing. The dramatic video capturing it all. Plus, September's jobs report is in, and economists are happy. Why the results surprised most experts.
But first, a year after a special visit from John Mellencamp, IU will once again honor the Hoosier native. The dedication plan that's just a few weeks away. We'll be back in a few.
Most people know John Mellencamp as a Grammy award-winning musician, but not for his talents that extend beyond music. Now, a statue is being built to honor his impact in music and the arts. Mellencamp, a Seymour, Indiana native, will be honored with a statue on IU's campus. Mellencamp has been connected to Bloomington for a number of years. Last year, he donated his archived collection of his work and life to Indiana University. There is an exhibit at the Eskenazi Museum of Art titled Crossroads, The Paintings of John Mellencamp, which aims to show Midwestern Americans who feel neglected and overlooked.
So I think John Mellencamp's work really resonates with Bloomington and the Indiana community at large. It's very resonant of kind of that Midwest hometown feeling. John Mellencamp also is donating his archives to the university, and the exhibition creates a space where students can really interact with and get up close to his works.
The statue honoring John Mellencamp will be unveiled at the North Garden of the IU Auditorium on October 18th between 1 and 2 p.m.
We are seeing some dramatic video when a fire breaks out underneath a Frontier Airlines flight as it landed in Las Vegas on Saturday. This happened at Harry Reid International Airport. A witness captured the moment when the fire erupted. The flight arrived in Las Vegas from San Diego. A spokesperson for the airline said pilots detected smoke as the plane was landing and declared an emergency. Airport officials say the plane experienced a hard landing and its tires blew. Fire and rescue crews quickly responded and put the fire out. No one was hurt. The FAA is investigating the incident.
Self-driving wheelchairs are taking some travelers to their gates at Seattle-Tacoma International Airport. Check this out. Alaska Airlines is testing the new technology until mid-December. The new service works with the airport's existing wheelchair service. Travelers go through traditional security with a wheelchair assistant, then the self-driving wheelchair takes them to their gate. The wheelchairs are programmed with automated routes that users can select on a touchscreen. They're also equipped with cameras and sensors that detect obstacles along the way. Alaska Air says more than 1,500 travelers have used the new technology. A major win for the U.S. labor market Friday with the release of a September jobs report. The U.S. economy is blowing expectations out of the water, adding 250,000 jobs.
Leah Waldman is in New York to break it all down for us.
After a disappointing jobs report in July and August, September is one to remember.
When workers do well, the economy is stronger, the nation is stronger, and this jobs report is an example of that.
U.S. job growth surged last month. Employers added an estimated 254,000, according to data released Friday by the Bureau of Labor and Statistics, much higher than August's monthly total. On top of the jobs added, the unemployment rate dropped from 4.2% to 4.1%. Acting Secretary of Labor Julie Su says this latest jobs report isn't a declaration of victory, but rather a declaration of progress 4 years after the start of the pandemic.
Real wages continue to be up, inflation rate and the interest rate are going down, and all of this is a sign of a historic and unprecedented economic recovery.
The jobs report comes just weeks after the Federal Reserve decided to cut interest rates by 0.5 percentage point, indicating an elusive soft landing could be reached. Lael Brenner, the White House National Economic Advisor, suggested even with this positive jobs report, another rate cut could be on the horizon.
We are seeing that inflation has come back down and interest rates have been falling. And today we saw the jobs market continues to expand. That's very, very good progress.
In New York, I'm Lee Waldman reporting.
Next on IUSTV News, October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. When should you consider getting a risk assessment?
Plus, can we see more of this gorgeous sunshine and mild temperatures? Kyla has the check of the forecast on the other side of the break.
It's the second most common cancer in women. More than 42,000 women are estimated to die from this breast cancer this year alone.
There's a way to guide women towards the best time to start screening for this disease. It's called a breast cancer risk assessment.
In our continuing coverage of Breast Cancer Awareness Month, Mandy Gaither explains how a patient's risk is calculated and when to get an assessment done. It's today's Health Minute.
When it comes to breast cancer detection and prevention, one size does not fit all.
Individualized care should be involved when it comes to breast screening and breast care. And that means that everybody's going to have a different screening protocol based on their personal and family history.
Breast surgeon Dr. Erica Peters with Cleveland Clinic says that's why breast cancer assessments are done to measure an individual patient's risk of developing the disease. There are many tools that can help, including surveys online or done in a doctor's office. The questions calculate risk based on things like age, family history of breast cancer, or other cancers that might indicate cancer-causing genetic mutations, personal medical history, age of first live birth, race and ethnicity, breast density, and hormone exposure. The patient's score will determine when to start breast cancer screening.
Most average women should start annual mammograms at age 40. Some women should start screening sooner based, again, on that personal and their family history.
Peters says all women should get a breast cancer risk assessment at age 25, especially when there's a family history of breast cancer. For those who don't know that history, genetic testing can help.
We rely on our genetic counselors who can do a pedigree to the degree that we know about family history, and then do testing to see if you do carry a genetic mutation that increases one risk of breast or other cancers.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Turning to weather now, it was a gorgeous weekend and a gorgeous Monday. Jaymi, not too hot, not too cold, and blue skies.
Yes, it was amazing. And Kyla Williams is in with the forecast.
Kyla, I am so happy that temperatures are slowly starting to drop. It's fall season and hoping for more of that.
Yes, sweater weather.
Sweater weather. Listen, we've came into a rough fall season with rains and colds, and it was terrible. But going into Tuesday, you can see we start our day off at 44 degrees at 8 a.m. Midday, we rise into 64 degrees, and at our end of the day, we end at 70 with sunny skies throughout the day. Taking a look at the high temps for Tuesday, we are still maintaining those mid to low 70s, with 75 degrees being the hottest in areas in Washington, Bloomington 72, mid 74s, just around the county. Taking a look at the 7-day forecast, those 70s, mid 70s, low 70s as well, with the highest being 81 degrees on Sunday. With cloudy skies, we don't expect to have any rain. Finally, I know we're tired of being wet and rained out, but again, you can see that we start at 71 degrees on Tuesday and end with those cool, much cooler degrees at 63 degrees on Monday. But it should be a good and final way to end our week for fall break.
Kyla, I did not see any rain showers on that forecast.
Listen, I'm so glad to get away from the rain. You know how bad it is getting your hair done and it rains?
Yes,
Like,
girl.
come on, I'm tired of it. Fall break is coming. Their weekend should be great.
Awesome.
No rain.
Kyla, thank you so much.
Of course.
Next in sports, the Hoosiers are bowl eligible. Austin has the recap of Week 6. Next in sports, stay with us.
The Hoosiers are going bowling. I'm Austin, and let's talk football. Indiana football made history over the weekend as the first FBS team to clinch bowl eligibility this year. The Hoosiers are off to a 6-0 start, their first since 1967 after a 41-24 win over Northwestern. The Hoosiers have scored over 40 points in 5 straight games. Despite some defensive lapses, IU has dominated the first quarter all season, outscoring opponents 73-0. Linebacker Jalen Walker's upper body injury is a concerned thought as the team heads into a bye week. Coach Signetti has Hoosiers on a roll and looking to keep the momentum going as they face off at home against Nebraska in 2 weeks. And for the latest on all things IU sports, be sure to tune in each week to Hoosier Sports Night. You can catch it Thursdays on IUSTV. That's all for sports. Back to you at the desk.
Austin, thank you so much.
Yes, and can we get one final look at that forecast?
Yes, of course. And ending our weekend, 63 on Monday, but we are in those mid 70s, 75 degrees with 81 being on Sunday. So get outside. It's fall break. So the weather is looking very cutesy, very mindful, and very demure.
Yes, I'm super excited for fall break.
I do not think you could draw up a better forecast. So thank you so much, Kyla.
You're welcome.
And thank you for watching IUSTV News.
For updates between newscasts, check out IUSTV.com, and we look forward to seeing you back here tomorrow night. Take care.